All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on chapter one of book eight. And so, um, so King Janamajaya, of course, is asking Vedavyasa about all the different kings of the different dynasties, and also to describe the form of the great Devi and how she was worshipped in every Manvantara by the regent of or Manvantara and the kings thereof. So Manvantaras are big clumps of time. I don't know
Oh,
how they
okay.
fit in with yugas and everything else, but it's a long time. So anyway, so Veda Vyasa said, "O king, now here I'm describing to you in detail about the worship of the Devi Bhagavati that leads to the welfare of the whole world, the hearing of which or the practice of which enables one to get the highest good. In days of yore, the Deva Rishi Narada asked Narayana about this very point. I will now tell you about the Bhagavan, um, about now tell you what the Bhagavan advised Narada. So Narayana is Vishnu, right? Um,
Yep, right.
once, once on a time, the all-powerful Devarishi Narada, entitled with all the yogic powers and born from the body of Brahma, was traveling all over this earth and came to the hermitage of the Rishi Narayana. Resting a while, and the troubles of the journey over, he bowed down to the yogi Narayana and asked him, "What you just asked me now, Chanamadeva." Narada said, "O Deva of the Devas, Mahadeva, O thou, the ancient Purusha, the excellent one, O omniscient, O thou, the whole holder of the universe, O thou who art the repository of the good qualities and who art praised by all. O Deva, now tell me, what is the ultimate cause of this universe? Whence has this universe its origin, and how does it rest? To whom does it take refuge? Where does it dissolve in the time of pralaya? Where do all the karmas of these beings go to? And what object is that whose knowledge destroys forever the Maya, the cause of this moha illusion? Whose worship, what japam, and whose meditation in the lotus of heart are to be made, by which, O Deva, the knowledge of Paramatman rises in the heart, as the darkness of the night vanishes by the rising of the sun. O Deva, kindly reply to these my questions in such a clear manner as the ignorant people in this samsara can understand it and get themselves across this ocean of samsara. Thus asked by the Deva Rishi, the ancient Narayana, the best the Muni said, excuse me, a sip of water. It's dry and windy here. Not the best time. The great yogi gladly spoke, O Deva Rishi, here I will now speak to you all the tattvas of this world, knowing which the mortal never falls into the illusion of this world. O child, the original cause of this universe is the Devi Mahamaya. This is the opinion of the rishis, the devas, the Gandharvas, and other intelligent persons. It is written in the Vedas and other sastras that the Devi Bhagavati, worshipped by all in the universe, creates, preserves, and it destroys the universe by the influence of her three gunas. I now describe to you the nature of the Devi worshipped by the Siddhas, Gandharvas, and Rishis, the mere remembering of whom destroys all sins and gives final liberation, moksha, and dharma, and artha, and kama also. The powerful Swayambhuva, Manu, the first, the husband of Satarupa, the prosperous and the ruler of the Manvantaras, worshipped the sinless Prajapati Brahma, who is his father, with due devotion and satisfied him when the grandsire of the Lokas, Brahma, spoke to his son. The excellent worship of the Devi should be done by you. By her grace, O son, your work of creating worlds will be successful. Thus spoken by Brahma, um, the Manu, the Virat incarnate, worshipped the world mother with great austerities. And with his concentrated devotion, he satisfied the Devi and began to chant hymns to her, the, the firstborn, the Maya, the Shakti of all, and the cause of all causes. Manu said, "Thou art Brahma, the ocean of the Vedas, Krishna, the embodiment of Lakshmi, Pundara. I bow down again and again to thee, the cause of Maya, the cause of this universe. Thou holdest the conch shell, ex Gada in the hands, and thou residest in the heart of Narayana. Thou art the Vedas incarnate, the world mother, the auspicious one, bowed down by all the devas, and the knower of the three Vedas. O thou endowed with all powers and glory, O Mahamaya, thou residest in the better half of Mahadeva, and thou dost all what is dear to him. Thou art the most beloved of Nanda, the cowherd, in the form of Mahamaya, the daughter who concealed Krishna and slipped away from the hands of Kamsa and got up in the air and remained in that space, also in the form of Sri Krishna. Thus gave us much pleasure and went the cause of all the festivities. Thou takest away the fear due to plague, etc. Thou art worshipped by the devas. O thou, the auspicious Bhagavati, thou art the welfare of all incarnate. Thou fructifies the desires of all desires. I bow down to the ocean of brightness, splendor. I bow down to the Devi whose gracious glance enables Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh to do their respective work of creating, preserving, and destroying. And he goes on to say, O Bhagavati, thou art modesty, fame, memory, luster. Thou art Lakshmi, Giraja, the daughter of Himalayas. Thou art Sati, Daksha's daughter. Thou art the Savitri, the mother of the Vedas. Thou art the intelligence of all, and thou art the cause of fearlessness. So I now engage myself in reciting thy japam, thy hymns, and thy worship. I meditate on thee and see thy form within my heart and hear thy praises. Be graciously pleased on me, O Devi. It is by thy grace that Brahma is the revealer of the four Vedas, Vishnu is the Lord of Lakshmi, Indra is the Lord of the Devas and of the three worlds, Varuna is the Lord of waters, Kuvera is the Lord of wealth, Yama is the Lord of the dead, uh, and Soma is the Lord of the water element and praised by the three worlds. Therefore, O auspicious world mother, I bow down to thee. Narayana said, O child, when Swayambhuva Manu, the son of Brahma, chanted thus these hymns to the Adi Shakti Bhagavati, she became pleased and spoke to him thus. The deity said, O king, the Brahma's son, I am pleased with your devoted worship in him, so ask boons from me that you desire. Manu said, O Devi, if thou art graciously pleased, grant that my creation be finished without any hitch. The Devi said, O King of Kings, by my blessings, your work of creation will be completed without any obstruction. And by your merits, your punya, they will no doubt multiply on and on. He who reads this devotion with devotion, this hymn composed by you, will get sons, fame, and beauty in this world. And in the end, he will be entitled to get the highest place. The people will have powers unopposed by anybody, will get wealth and grains, will get victory everywhere and happiness, and his enemies will be destroyed. Narayana said, O child, the Devi Bhagavati Adi Shakti granted thus the desired boon to Swayambhuva Manu and vanished away at once from his sight. Then the powerful Manu, obtaining thus the boon, spoke to his father, O father, Now give me a solitary place where I can worship the Devi with sacrifices and do my work of creating a good number of people. Hearing thus the words of the son, Brahma, the Lord, thought over the matter for a long time. How can this work will be done? Alas, I have spent an endless time in this work of creation, but as yet nothing has been done. For the earth, the receptacle of all the jivas, is submerged in water and has gone down to the Rasatala. What is to be done now? There's only one hope, and that is this. If the Bhagavan, Vishnu, the primeval person under whose command I am engaged in this work of creation, helps me in this work of mine, no doubt it will be accomplished. So that's been the problem. Brahma hasn't been able to create the world because it's all underwater. And so, even though Manu got the boon, they're concerned. So, in chapter 2, I have a feeling that Brahma is going to do something about this. Well, Brahma was discussing on the subject with Manu. Suddenly, there came out of the nose of the meditative Brahma one young boar of the dimension of one finger only. Oh, I love it. I know. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Descriptions are so great. That little boar that was just in the air soon became, while they were looking at it, enlarged to a very large elephant. In an instant, a very strange sight indeed. Seeing this, everybody, the seven rishis and everybody, and the creator Brahma were struck with wonder, and Brahma began to discuss thus. Oh, this young boar has come out suddenly from my nose. Though it is very small, it is certainly come under a disguise, and it has all made us merge into an ocean of wonder. Is this something divine, of a sattvic quality, under the guise of a boar? It was of the size of a thumb, and now it's like the Himalaya mountain. Oh, is this the Bhagavan Vishnu? While they were thus discussing, the Bhagavan, in the shape of the boar, began to make loud sounds, like the rolling of the mountain clouds at a time of the pralaya resounding all their quarters. At this, Brahma and all the rishis assembled there became very glad. Hearing the noise of the boar, their troubles ended, and the people and all the devas were very much gladdened and began to chant sweet hymns. Hearing their praises, the Bhagavan Vishnu graciously looked on them and immediately merged himself in the ocean. The ocean was very much agitated with the fierce striking of the hairs of the boar when he entered into the waters and spoke thus, O Deva, O thou, the destroyer of the afflictions of your refugees, protect me. Hearing these words of the ocean, the god Vishnu tore asunder all the aquatic animals and went down beneath the waters. Searching violently hither and thither, he knew the earth by her smell. At once the Bhagavan Vishnu, the Lord of all, went to her and rescued the earth by raising her up on his big teeth. The earth that was the abode of all the beings. When the Bhagavan Vishnu, the Lord of all sacrifices, came up with the earth on the top of his teeth, he looked beautiful like the elephant of a quarter taking out by the root and holding 1,000-petaled lotus upon his tusk. When the Bhagavan rescued thus the earth, raising her up on his tusk, Brahma and Indra and the lords and the devas and powerful Manu began to praise him with sweet words. Brahma said, O lotus-eyed, O Bhagavan, thou art victorious everywhere. O thou, the destroyer of sufferings. O Deva, this earth shines so beautiful of thy teeth as 1,000-petaled lotus taken up by the root by a mad elephant shines on his two tusks. O Bhagavan, this form, that of the sacrificial boar, with earth on thee looks very beautiful as the lotus looks beautiful. on the tusk of an elephant. We bow down to thee, the creator and the destroyer of everything. Thou assumest many forms. So remember that Vishnu, that's actually a bit of a curse that he has to take on form after form whenever there's trouble. So it says, Thou assumest many forms for the purpose of destroying the demons. Thou dost do many acts that redound to thy glory. We bow down to thee. O Deva, by that power I am brought up and engaged in the work of creation. Let's see, I skipped one, sorry. To thy form and to thy front and to thy back. Thou art the upholder of the celestials and the immortals. Thine eyes, Vishnu, are equally everywhere. O Deva, by thy power I am brought up and engaged in the work of creation, and by that order I create in every cup of this universe and destroy it. O Lord of immortals, in the ancient times the Devas united and churned the vast ocean by thy help and got according to their merits their due shares. O Vishnu, Indra, the Lord of the Devas, is enjoying the vast kingdom of heaven by thy will and appointment. All the Devas worship him. So the god of fire has got his burning power and is residing in the bellies of the Devas, the Asuras and men, and all these beings penetrating their bellies is satisfying all. Yama, the king of Dharma, by thy appointment, is the lord of the southern quarters, is presiding over the Pitris, and being the witness of all the actions of the Jivas, is awarding duly to them the fruits thereof. Varuna Deva, by the order, has become duly the lord of the waters and the regions of the Lokas. The Vayu, the life of all, the carrier of the smell, has become by thy order Lokapala and the guru of the universe. Kubera, obedient to thy order, has become the lord of the Yakshas and is holder a respectful position like other Lokpalas. O Bhagavan, we bow down to thee, the Lord of the universe. The innumerable devas that are seen are merely the small fraction of thy power. So then Narayana said, O child Narada, when Brahma, the creator of the Lokas, praised thus Vishnu, he cast a sidelong glance at them, offering his grace. When the Bhagavan, the sacrificial boar, was coming up with earth rescued and placed on his teeth, the awful Hiran Kaksa, the chief of the demons, came before him and obstructed his passage when he killed him by one violent stroke of his club. He was besmeared all over his body with the blood of the demon, and thus he came up from the Rasatala and placed the earth on the waters. He then went away to his Vaikuntha abode. O child Narada, he who hears or reads devotedly this glorious deeds of Bhagavan and the deliverance of the earth will certainly be freed of all his sins and go to the holiest place of Vishnu, the Lord of all. There is no doubt in this. Okay, so now we have the earth. Not sure how she got there. I don't remember that story of how come she had to be under the ocean, but remember when Brahma and Vishnu were born on the lotus, they're just on this huge sea way back when we were starting to read this. So this must be the sea that she's still on, or still was under that sea. So chapter 3, Narayana said, O Narada, when the Bhagavan went to Vaikuntha, establishing the earth in its due position and equilibrium, Brahma spoke thus to his son. O powerful son of mine, O Manu, the best of those that are filled with tejas, energy, and tapas, now go on with your work of creation as you think proper on this earth, the upholders of all the jivas. And worship the Purusha, the Lord of sacrifices, according to the division of places and time, and with all the necessary materials of various kinds, high and low, and those that will be useful in performing your sacrifices. do dharma according to the sastras and according to the different castes and and ashramas, the various stages of life. Thus, by gradually going on step by step in the path of yoga, your progeny will be multiplied. Get lovely sons and daughters of good fame, culture, modesty, and ornamented with various other good qualities like yourself. Then marry your daughters when they will come to the marriageable age to proper persons of good qualifications, and then fix your mind thoroughly on the excellent Purusha that is very best. O child, now go and serve the Bhagavan with devotion as as I have advised you, and you will certainly attain that which is difficult to be worshipped and obtained. Advising thus his son Manu and starting him in his work of creation, the lotus born of the Lord of the subjects, Brahma, went away to his own abode. When Brahma went away, having ordered his son to create progeny and subjects, Manu took that seriously in his heart and began to do that work. In time, he had two powerful sons, and then he had three beautiful daughters. And the first daughter, Akuti, was married to Maharishi Rishi. The second was born married to Prajapati Kardama, and the third was married to Prajapati Daksha. And know that all the beings in this world have their origin from this last daughter. Now hear the progeny of these three daughters and the Maharishis respectively. By Maharishi was born one son named Yagya in the womb of Akuti. He is part Bhagavan Vishnu. By Maharishi Kardama in the womb of Devahuti was born the Bhagavan Kapila Deva, the famous author of the Sankhya Sastras. In the womb of Prasuti, by the Prajapati Daksha, were born some daughters only. Now know that the devas, men, beasts, and birds were all created by this Prajapati Daksha. So that's always confusing to me that all these different forms came out of these folks. But these offsprings were the first promulgators in the work of creation. In the Swayambhu Mantara, the powerful Bhagavanja, by the name of the Devas named Yama, saved his mother's father Manu from the attacks of the demons and the great lord of the yogis. The Bhagavan Kapila remained for a while in his ashram and gave spiritual instructions to his mother, Devahuti, by which Avidya could be at once destroyed. And he also disclosed this Sankhya Sastra, the great work on the spiritual philosophy and the special Dhyan Yoga in all its details, and finally went for Samadhi in the ashram of Paluha, where the great Deva Shankacharya lives up to this day. Oh, I bow down to the great Yogacharya, the Bhagavan Kapila Deva, the fructifier of all desires, the mere remembrance of whose name makes easily the yogi realize the meaning of jnana. The sins are immediately destroyed. Of course, if you read this. O child, now I describe to you the progeny of the sons of Swayambhuva Manu. Hear attentively. And now is being described the history about the progeny of those who formed those islands and varsas, countries, and oceans for the welfare and happiness of all. So it goes, these are quite chapters for reading with lots of hard words because it has all the everybody's names of who was who. But I did read them on the, I did do the discourse. Fortunately, they're quite short because first you hear about them and then you hear about the oceans And then you hear about all the countries and all the mountains surrounding them. So I didn't really underline too much, other than there was a lot of information. I guess in reading it over and over, you become a little bit familiar with some of those names, because if you hear about them in another story, I mean, one of the few words I recognized in here was the Himalayas, that they were forming the boundaries respectively of the three countries named Ramayaka, Huron, Maya, and Kuru, respectively. These run along the east and gradually extend to their base and towards the salt ocean. So these three mountains that on the boundaries are each 2,000 yojanas wide. I thought this was sort of interesting. They talked about the different oceans, and there were 5 kinds of oceans. One was the ocean of honey, I think it was, and one was the ocean of sugar cane, and one was made up of, what was the other one? Curd, milk, and one was yogurt, and one was just plain sweet water. So I thought that was interesting. And then I like this last part where they're talking about how these huge trees grow on them, the mango, the jack, the plantain, and fig trees. And they're 400 yojanas wide and 1,100 yojanas high. They seem to extend to the heaven and form, as it were, the flagstaff on the top. So here's the lakes. On those mountaintops are situated again the 4 very auspicious lakes. Of these, one lake is milk, the other is honey, the third is sugarcane, and the fourth is all sweet water. There are then again the 4 very lovely gardens named Nandana, Chitrarata, Jaka, and Sarvatobarda. I think this is because God knows I don't know how to pronounce things. This is my karma yoga. Very lovely, enchanting, and pleasing to the delicate female sex, and where the devas enjoy the wealth and prosperity of their yoga powers. But on top of that Mandara mountain, there are the heavenly mango trees, 1,100 yojanas high, the sweet, delicious nectar-like mango fruits, very soft and each the size of a summit of a mountain, fall to the ground, and out of their juice, of a color of the rising sun, a great river named Arun Oda takes her origin. Here the devas always worship the Devi Bhagavati named Aruna, the destructress of all sins, the grantrix of all desires, and the bestower of all fearlessness, with various offerings, and with the lovely water of this Arun Oda river with great devotion. O child, in ancient days, the king of the demons worshipped always this great Devi, and he attained great, immense wealth and prosperity. So he who worships her becomes cured of all diseases, gets his health and other happiness by her grace. But it sounds like that mango, who is as big as the summit of a mountain, that's quite big. So anyways, so that ended chapter 5. So any questions or comments or insights that you can help me with?
Well, that was 4.
Yeah, that was chapter 5, where the mango.
Oh, the mango. Okay.
The mango river was chapter 5. Arun.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's just hard to wrap your head around all of this. It's, you know, it's another world.
Yeah.
And gazillions of years old.
Yeah, that's how it helps me this time around reading it, was is to think that there is another world like this, and just kind of relax and enjoy hearing about it and reading about it.
Right. Where last time
we're not going to understand it.
Right,
No.
last time you wanted to make a timeline of who was.
I
what,
know.
and it was like, good luck, Elaine, yeah. But the other thing is that when this material world we're in now, when it gets particularly challenging, that knowing that, you can open up this book and read about other times that sound like that was pretty challenging. Some of the times they're fighting the demons for 10,000 years and that kind of thing. It's like, oh, I guess my little challenge right now is small. I can handle it.
It helps us put everything in perspective.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like when you go outside and you look at the night sky and you see millions of stars and you realize that there's millions of other things going on besides you, and that there's just not even a speck of sand in it all. Yeah.
In our little world.
Look at what Bill just brought us.
Oh, thank you.
Popcorn.
I haven't
wish
even finished
smell
my
it.
lunch. I know.
I want to smell it.
So I'm going to stop the recording. Pause, stop recording.